following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
The Nostalgia Funhouse proudly dedicates all episodes in the loving memory of Connie Chirac. So, Johnny, I've been hearing really great things about this Nostalgia Funhouse. It just brings back so many great memories.
Andrew, the only reason I'm moving in line with you here is that you really vouched for this show. So I'm just going to believe you that this is the show that I've been wanting, which is just talking about all the fun stuff from our yesteryear and the years before. And I really hate anything meta, so I'm glad that what we're doing right now is not that.
Oh, no, definitely. What is meta? Isn't that Ron Artest's new name?
Well, add World and Peace to it, sure.
Yeah, but this is great. They, last year they were tearing play sets and Halloween costumes.
Well, that sounds cool.
They get these weird court recordings from pop culture courts.
Does anybody care about court cases?
These ones are kind of cool. They put Scott Kelvin on trial. Poor Santa Claus there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. You know what's the best part about this is, though? Is I hear they always got a really great sponsor. You can check it out right there.
The city is frozen in fear, and Mr. Freeze aims to chill Batman next, but not anti-freeze Batman. Mr. Freeze and his Ice Sapper are out of control, but Batman's ready.
Freeze, Batman! Take this, hotshot! Ah!
Only Batman's Ice Hammer vehicle is tough enough to drill through this ice storm.
Chill out, Mr. Freeze.
Now the best is hotter than ever. Batman. Vehicle and figures each sold separately.
Boom, 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 boom. That's right. We're talking Batman, the animated series. I'm Johnny. He's Andrew. Andrew, today we found the top 10, according to Collider.com, top 10 episodes of Batman, the animated series. We've watched those, and we're going to give them a review here on the Nostalgia Funhouse. Andrew, what's your history with this show growing up?
One of my favorite cartoons to watch. I don't remember it so much on Saturday mornings, but for some reason I remember it after school type.
After school, 100%. That's when I watched it as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. I know a lot.
No. This was an after school show. This was one of my top tier favorite cartoons of all time. Is this one?
Yeah. And this is probably your best. I feel like this is the best version of Batman that we ever had.
It's so iconic for me growing up that my idea of most villains comes from my version of it in my head is from this show. When I'm not so much anymore because it just got too expensive, but big time comic book guy here. And when I would read comic books, I still read them from time to time, but when I would read them,
big time comic book guy here.
Yeah, big time comic book guy here. 10-4, good buddy. I, in my head, I would read when I was reading the characters. There would be there were these voices from this show, when Joker was. Anytime Joker was always Mark Hamill to me. Kevin Conroy was always Batman for me. Just the voice acting alone on this show is so top tier, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I have not watched this, watched it in this aspect in years. And one of the first things I said to Johnny when he was these shows are still amazing, they still stand up, I was like, we did not deserve this as a kid. The writing on this, I rewatched X-Men when Disney Plus came out. The first, not X-Men 97. X-Men 97 is great. But that original X-Men, compared to Batman the Animated Series, it's always been a toss-up to me. But after watching these, I would rather have Batman the Animated Series. And I don't think you could ever really do anything else with this. Bring it back like an X-Men 97, because it's so... Well, first of all, you don't have Kevin Conroy. So
yeah, don't do it. Just don't do it, because I would not accept unless it was Conroy doing the voice. So just don't do it.
And Mark did the Joker way of doing it. He said once Conroy passed away, he was like, I'm done being the Joker.
which I really love that. That's because they're so connected. This I love this show so much that like this is one of those shows along with Ninja Turtles that I know way too much about. Like little trivia that most people probably wouldn't care about. This is one of the few shows, especially at the time when it was being made, that actually used a lot like real orchestra to make the music for it. That was not something that happened with most of your animated shows or just TV shows in general, really. I mean, if you look at the history of the voice actors for this show, your mind will be blown at the names that it's on here. Like you'd be, whoa, you wouldn't believe it. And the top 10 that Collider has, I agree, all the episodes they have are great, but that's not even like they wouldn't even be my top 10. Most of these would be in there, but I would have like for example, do you remember the one called Baby Doll? Do you remember that episode?
No.
Here, I'll just give you the gist of it because I encourage everybody to look it up. They're all on Max. If you have Max, you can find all of them. The gist of the bad guy in Baby Doll is called.
Jacoby. Are they on Jacoby or are they just on Max?
Oh, they're just on Max. I don't know what Jacoby's done to get it, but the Baby Doll is the main villain in this, and it's
the little girl.
Yeah, who can't grow up. Like
okay, yes.
Yes, that one has like one of the most.
Once you said it, I knew it.
Yeah, gut punch of an endings to an episode. And I was thinking about this as I was watching these. What really helps this series stand out is not only the voice acting, but the writing.
Yes.
Because they only have like 20 to 23 minutes. And in that time frame, they'll take a villain or somebody and make them multifaceted. They're not just out for money or whatever. There's reasons behind all of it. And we'll get to that as we're going through these, but yeah.
Yeah, because that was the big thing that I really noticed that I didn't notice obviously as like a kid. I mean,
right, yeah.
10, 11, maybe 12 at the oldest. You don't recognize it. It's not just, it's called Batman the Animated Series, but it's not Batman heavy. Like it's not completely 100% around Batman. It is telling you the story of the villains, like you said. It is getting you attached to the villains. So when something happens, I felt for a lot of these guys where I got to do this to keep this up or anything of that aspect. And I watched Superman, the animated series, and I didn't feel that same way about that.
That's still a good series, but I know what you mean. There's just something different. And I will say this too. This Bruce Timm Batman stuff is such a good foundation for all the animated DC stuff afterwards, where that's just so the DC animated stuff is just far superior to anything they've tried to do live action besides maybe Nolan's first two Batman movies. But other than that, it's just so incredible.
Like Bane.
Oh man,
I think they just missed the mark because what Bane is in like the comics and even in the show is
it's so much. Yeah, it's. I don't know why they did that to him in the
great. I love the great animation also, and I love the great setting of Gotham, where it's kind of always dark. You're not exactly sure what time period it's in.
They did it on purpose. Yeah,
but it's very cool, like cars and like the design of the cars and everything else. It's great. But are we ready?
Let's do this.
Okay, so according to Collider, number 10 is Feet of Clay, Part 2. This is season 1, episode 5. Bruce is released from prison on bail regarding Lucius Fox's assault, investigated as Batman to discover the culprit. He soon learns of Daggett's involvement, but is shocked when he encounters a shape-shifting mutant called Clayface. Is seeking to kill him. When he learns that Hagen is Clayface and is seeking revenge for the transformation by the Cream's properties, Batman is forced to do all he can to stop him.
Basically, Hagen was an actor.
Yeah.
And he had some accident. I can't remember what the accident was, but
I think it was
where
a car or something.
it might have been. I think so. Yeah, where it disfigured his face, and um, what's that bad guy's name? I forgot his name. Daggard, something like that.
Daggett.
Daggett
Yeah.
says, "Hey, try this out." And it's like it's new stuff he was trying to get out. It's this cream you put on your face, and it's supposed to de-age you, that type of thing. And mold, like you can mold it, that kind of stuff. But it basically, it works for a little bit, but he had to keep using it to the point where like it kind of bonded with him, and he became this clay face. And this is a first example of a villain. And we only watched the last part. I didn't even watch the first part of this.
I accidentally watched the first part, and the first part was really good.
Oh, I know it's good because I remember it, but
Yeah.
I only watched the second part this time for this. And even in that, like you feel for this guy.
Yeah, because he's just trying to keep his acting job and stay famous. Because he needs this cream. Daggett knows it, so that's kind of where it leads into Bruce. He impersonates Bruce Wayne to attack Lucius Fox because with this cream, he can mold it into anybody that he wants
Yeah.
to be. So
Yeah.
and he needs this cream to keep his acting gig, and Daggett makes him do just really messed up stuff to keep it, like almost like a drug addiction.
Yes, that is what it is, basically. It's incredible. This is another incredible episode. Again, this is a great example of just why the writing is so good on this show. You get all these amazing aspects of one villain here. And
You feel
the one, my favorite note, though, is at the very beginning when Bruce Wayne is walking out of jail and there's all that press around him, and he gets in his car, and he had a suitcase with him. He opens his suitcase. All he had in that suitcase was his Batman suit.
I think they made a toy like that too, didn't they?
They probably did, but that's fantastic, though. I just love that.
We always got to be ready. Can't be like Superman and just wear it underneath your clothes. So this was the other thing about this is Johnny and I were going to give them like a letter grade or 1 out of 5 or something like that. But we very much are just giving all these. We pretty much agreed they're all A's.
Yeah, they're at least an A. I don't feel like, because I was also giving a number. None of these got below an 8.5 for me, and most of them were 9s and up. So, like this one, I gave a 9 out of 10, just for example.
Yeah, I would have definitely been in the same boat with that one. Even though the first one I feel is a little bit better, but that only because it's to set up this. So it's like saying the first half of a movie is kind of better than the second half, but either way. So number 9, they had Robin's Reckoning Part 1. This is season 1, episode 51. Batman and Robin put a stop to a group of gangsters sabotaging a construction yard as part of an extortion racket when one of them later reveals their boss is Billy Martin. Batman orders Robin not to accompany him on the search for the culprit. Curious, Robin uses the Bat computer to find out why and discovers Marlin is the alias of Tony Zuko, the man who killed his parents, John and Mary Grayson.
Yeah, this is basically just the origin of Robin, is what this is. This would have been on my top 10 list this episode, both of them, parts 1 and 2. Here's a little known, well, it's not little known, but my favorite DC hero is Dick Grayson. Robin / Nightwing is my favorite DC hero. He's basically an awesome Batman who has a sense of humor and a personality. I love Bruce Wayne, don't get me wrong, but he's like a less sour Batman, basically. And this just gives you like this is also one of those episodes that hits you in your emotions.
Yes.
I mean, they do such a, on the scene where his parents die, they did such a great job with that for an animated show. They don't obviously show them actually falling to their demise, but you know what happened.
They always kind of like show a shadow of it.
Yes, it's tastefully done, is what I'm trying to say, and you just feel for this poor kid. And there's a scene in this, because it's a lot of flashback. There's
Yeah.
a scene in this where Bruce Wayne is talking to kid Robin, basically, before he's become Robin. And they bond over the fact that, hey, both of them became orphans. And both of them had their parents literally taken away from them by violence. So they bond over that. It's just, man, what a scene that is. In a cartoon, for the record.
Also, it's kind of cool, like Alfred, because like during
This is a good Alfred episode.
Yeah, this one and the other one we're going to talk about is during one of the flashbacks, Batman is so obsessed of finding Tony Zuko that, you know, he forgets that Robin is there, and Alfred has to remind him, you know, this is great that you're trying to capture this murderer, but what, you know, Dick Grayson really needs right now is he needs you. And it kind of like shows that, like, why are you always going out, Bruce? What are you doing, Bruce? You know, you got a lot of late night meetings, Bruce. And it's a big Wayne Manor. It's pretty big. So just to be like Alfred and good old Dick Grayson in there is a little big. And I really like that. I also thought it was kind of like crazy with like almost like the John Wick stuff, the way that he would constantly go out and like like he did some extortion type things to get people to talk.
Yes.
We'll go that route. And I did put down like some John Wick stuff, but I did like the flashbacks, and some of the notes that I saw here. The flashbacks are from the Robin's origin story based on Detective Comics issue 38.
Yep.
This episode also won Emmy in 1993 for Outstanding Animated Program.
Yes.
Less than 1 hour.
Yes. This is obviously an A episode.
So these things like we did not deserve this as kids.
It's so good.
Like this, the writing, like just were like, here's this great thing, and we were like, oh yeah, this is great. Oh yeah, it's good. You know, it's gonna sell toys and everything else. But it's so powerful that I think that, well, that's probably the great thing, that you can watch it with a child, and you can watch it as an adult.
Yeah.
Feel two different ways. That's really great about this,
which is very hard to do.
Number 8, The Man Who Killed Batman, season 1, episode 48. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah, this was incredible.
When a small-time gang member known as Sid the
Squid
Breeze seemingly kills Batman by accident, his newfound reputation vaults him into the upper like echelon of the criminal element in Gotham. He meets the Joker, Rupert Thorne, neither of who believe his claim that everything happened by pure luck. Sidney soon begins to realize that his reputation is a greater liability than an asset. I like this because I can almost feel like I would be in this situation. That you want to, and this also brings back to me this line when it comes to certain things. And you would hear some, as the kids would say, even though I think I'm in this thing when I was younger, is some old heads would say, everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster things.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel this episode embodies it. Like the minute everybody thinks he kills Batman, then that guy in the bar tries to fight him.
Which makes sense, right? That's what would happen in the underworld. Yeah. A couple of my notes here. There's a great scene where Harley's pretending to be a lawyer, and she bails Sid the Squid out, and Harvey goes, "Hey, you look familiar to me," and she goes, "I served your subpoena once. It was a small subpoena."
Yeah. The other great thing that in the background too is during like the bar fight, the bartender is just sitting.
Yes.
Just like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Like it's like an everyday thing.
He's obviously dealt with this before, but this episode has some phenomenal Joker and Harley stuff in it.
Yes. Where Joker pretty much is going to kill him because he
it makes sense, right? That this really shows how much Batman actually means to Joker.
Mm-hmm.
This episode does. It's so good
because he's like, I'm gonna kill you because you took away what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I love it where this guy always thinks it's luck on every little thing, but it's just Batman not dying that ultimately saves him just so Batman can get tracked down to who is behind the original crime.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. I mean, my last note on here is another banger of an episode.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Once again, it wasn't Batman was in it. This is a Batman episode, but it was so based around Sid the Squid.
The genesis of this episode was they wanted to see if they could do an episode that had the least amount of Batman in it, because Batman is honestly barely in this. He bookends this. He's in the beginning and the end, and that's it.
And it was still so good because
It's
you still got.
yeah.
I feel like throughout all these, as long as you get that little bit of Batman,
Yeah.
you're fine because all the characters in writing can just carry everything.
Yeah, A+ episode.
Yes. Number 7 is Per Chance to Dream.
Again, another banger.
Season 1, episode 26. Batman is investigating a new crime when he suddenly wakes up as Bruce one morning to find his life completely changed. Not only are his parents alive, his life as Batman no longer exists. Dick does not live with him, and Selina is engaged to him. Batman
No dick.
Batman exists to fight crime, but is a separate individual. Bruce seems to be willing to accept the life until reading a newspaper I can't even talk now, reveals something is deeply wrong. So pretty much, yeah,
He discovers he's in a dream.
Yeah, he discovers he's in a dream because he can't read the newspaper.
Yeah, this is a Mad Hatter episode, basically, and you don't find it out to the end. Here's a couple of my notes. Besides the fact this is, again, another, like, how deep the writing is on the show is ridiculous. But this episode is legit the reason why I always thought that you couldn't read in a dream, but I've read in my dreams before. So,
I think they just needed the out.
I know, but I'm just saying that's how much this show had an effect on me growing up. Is that, and the other thing too? There's all right, when Bruce Wayne is trying to get Batman's attention, there's a point where the two cops are chasing him, and they chase him down this alleyway, right? And is everything all right over there?
Yeah, it was a pitcher falling. So
Okay, all right. But they're chasing.
I didn't do it too smooth.
So they're chasing him down this alleyway, and they miss him. Like, where'd he go? And he had climbed up the building, right? All he does is he climbs up one side of the building, then climbs down the other side of the building, and he gets away.
Yeah.
All these cops had to do was walk around the side of the building.
Can't do that in Gotham. It's a dream. So even more, it's a dream.
This was, I think I'd read somewhere that this was one of Conroy's favorite episodes. Was this one?
Yeah, I think this one was pretty great as well because
this is an A. So
it's where sometimes dreams can turn into nightmares in a way.
Yeah.
Like he wanted this so badly, and at one point of the episode, he was accepting it. Like, this is just the way it's going to be. I'm going to love it. And then all of a sudden, like, he started trying to read books and a newspaper, and he just couldn't grasp it at all. But Batman just has to accept what he is. This would be, if I had to think of a top 10 off the top of my head, this next one would be in my top 10.
100% for me too. This is one of my all-time favorites we're about to talk about next.
Number 6 is Beware the Gray Ghost.
To the point where, just so you know, a little background on me, my family, well, we still have cats now, but when I was growing up, we had a cat, and I really wanted to name that cat because it was a gray cat. I wanted to name the cat the Gray Ghost, and I got outvoted. That's how much this episode means to me.
I would have been gone. Would have been gone. But Beware the Gray Ghost. Season 1, episode 32. Simon Trent, an actor best known for his role as the Gray Ghost on television, faces bankruptcy due to his declining career. This is also another great little understory in there. He is soon shocked when Batman visits him, requesting a copy of an episode from his TV show that could help him discover a string of recent bombings being committed. Trent soon joins forces with him as the Gray Ghost, especially when Batman reveals his work was inspired by the show, and guest star Adam West as the Gray Ghost.
This is basically a love letter to that original Batman series
It is.
that we grew up loving, even though it was out before me and you were born. This was still, obviously, it's one of the shows I saw as a kid that made me love Batman right away. Was that show? I love everything about this episode.
I love it how he shows like in a way of like fame where he is so typecasted.
Yeah.
There's so many actors that are typecasted. Like when you think of them, there's certain actors, when you think of them, you think of multiple, you can name multiple characters.
Yeah.
But then also a lot of superheroes. There's only one. Christopher Reeves, Superman.
Yeah.
Name something else Christopher Reeves has done.
Yeah, Adam West is obviously Batman.
Is Batman other than Family Guy? I can't
Right.
tell you what else.
So, I mean, it happens to a lot of characters. Jaleel White will always be Urkel.
Yeah.
Right. Bob Denver will always be Gilligan. Stuff like that.
And you just can't break that shell.
For better or for worse. Yeah. A couple of my notes real quick. First of all, I would 100% love to watch an animated Gray Ghost show. I would watch the heck out of that.
I think it would be fun.
Also, when you're in his apartment and you see all the stuff that he has from the show, he's got a Gray Ghost poster.
Mm-hmm.
I want that poster. That poster looked freaking sweet.
I love the fact that the whole reason why the person that was committing the bombings, and it was funny because the person that was committing the bombings was the guy that was selling all of his memorabilia and like stuff too.
He basically had a toy store, I guess, in a way, like a sort of like a pawn shop, but he dealt mainly with toys. It seemed like
a retro toy store, and he was doing it because he just wanted to buy more toys.
Yeah,
that's all he wanted to do. So he figured he'd rob bank or blow up banks and hold places up for ransom just to,
have money for more toys.
More toys. Which I'm not saying it's right,
but I understand it.
But I understand.
Yeah, A+ episode.
Yeah, it's so great because it's also one of those things too. At first, he's very resistant towards Batman.
Yeah,
it's one of those. Do you ever really want to meet your heroes? Because a lot of people say don't meet your heroes, and this one kind of worked out for him. He helped.
Yeah. Now, just so the audience knows, I was very fortunate because for a long time
you were Batman.
I was Batman. The secret's out. No, for a long time, I would set up at comic book conventions as an artist, and I got to meet a lot of awesome people because of that. And I got to meet a lot of my heroes. Because a lot of wrestlers show up at those, by the way. Mick Foley, one of my all-time favorites, met him multiple times and never disappointment. That dude is just awesome. But also, I've been on the other end of that where I'm not going to say any names, but I was set up right next to a very famous creator who created a very famous comic book character from Marvel. That's all I'll say. And that dude was a grade A dick. So I've had both. But yeah, it's pretty wild how that goes. But Mick Foley, A+ human being. Well, at least he was to me.
Yeah, it's a great episode, and I love it at the end too, where Batman says, "I used to watch you as a kid all the time," and at the end, at the book signing, Bruce Wayne says it.
Yeah, and I love that he tells him that, and that's how that guy knows. Well, it was worth. Like he actually even says, "I guess it was worth it."
Yeah,
it's just man, such great stuff.
It only takes one, man. Just be nice. Yeah. Just be nice. I'll tell this story a million times. There was a player for the Bills, Fred Smerlas. He took 15 minutes at a time, and all my brother wanted was an autograph. This is our very first Bills game, and it was like preseason, so it's not even like a big thing. And my dad gave us a book, and he was like, "Go see if you guys can get autographs." And this guy sat down and talked to us for 15 minutes. I'm like 5 years old. I can't remember what he talked to us about, but I do remember he took the time out He didn't even pay attention to my father. He paid attention to my brother and I, and sat there and talked to us for 15 minutes, and that's
That's
all.
how you make. And he made fans for a lifetime, right?
I will put him as one of my favorite players.
Exactly.
Hate the Buffalo Bills, but do not say anything bad about Fred Smerlas.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, so we got number 5, Two-Face Part 2, Season 1, Episode 18.
How do you want to do this? Because part 1 also comes up later on. Do you want to just do part 1 and 2 right now, or do you want to keep them split up?
We'll keep them split up.
Okay.
Keep them in order. Dent is now disfigured down one side of his face, and has lost his split personality disorder to become Two-Face. Starts robbing Thorne's illegal businesses out of rage, using a 2-headed coin to make his decisions, which I tried to do in school one time, but it didn't work. Batman feeling guilty.
Did you always try to do that flip of the coin like he does on his show? Because I did, and I never got it to go
I
right.
never got it either. That's why I quit doing it, because I didn't look cool. Or I always try to do the knuckle thing like they would do in westerns.
Yes, yeah, I couldn't do that either. Yeah,
No coin tricks here. Batman feeling guilty for not saving him, finds himself trying to stop his former friend before it is too late, upon learning Dent is intent on killing Thorne after humiliating him, even if his former girlfriend is placed in jeopardy.
yeah. First of all, we haven't talked about this yet, but just the character designs on this show are phenomenal.
Yes.
I dare say iconic. Just the way that they take these villains that like Two-Face was already a famous villain in Batman lore, and they just do an incredible job of the design of Two-Face in here, just for an example.
I don't think he was on the original show.
Oh, Adam West's Batman? No, I don't think he was either, but he's been in like the comics is what I was talking about. But he's been in the comics for a long time. And of course he was
yeah, we're not.
He was in the Forever. Wasn't the Batman Forever the one that had Riddler and Two-Face, I think?
Yeah, because the next one's Batman and Robin.
Yeah. One of them has nipples. I remember that. Batman has nipples, Greg.
And
can you milk him?
One. Oh yeah, he never appeared in there despite multiple attempts.
Yeah.
So I think,
but I mean, we'll cover more of this in part 1.
yeah.
But what makes this so incredible is this is like you just watching this man struggle with the two sides of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beyond fascinating and so well done on a show that I guess ultimately you would say this is technically a 40-minute episode, I guess, technically. And that's still not a long time to tell this incredible story, and they do it, and they did it justice.
I just like it when they are robbing the places and the guy starts grabbing the lady's jewelry.
Yeah, and he's got to flip a coin for that.
He's like, good side, leave it. And
yeah,
ultimately at the end of this, the coin is his ultimate weakness, and Batman figures it out. Because I didn't realize it, but they do foreshadow when it's like, hey, we found this crate of like silver dollars. And
we'll get into it on part 1, but there's a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah. And that's where Batman knocks over the crate, and he can't find his coin to make
it messes him up. Yeah.
Make his decision, and he kind of like loses it there.
Yeah. This is an A episode. It's fantastic.
Here's another banger. They're all bangers, but this one that always stands out is
this next one is legit my favorite episode of this. And I would put this in my all-time favorite. This would be on my Mount Rushmore favorite animated episodes of anything. Is this next one? No lie.
Is it? It also won a daytime Emmy in '93 for outstanding writing in an animated program, which is definitely deserved. Number 4 is Heart of Ice, Season 1, Episode 14. Scientist Victor Freeze, suffering a mutation in his DNA that cannot allow him to survive outside of a sub-zero temperatures, assumes the name Mr. Freeze and attacks several divisions of GothCorp for components to build a weapon. Batman investigates the nature of the attack and soon discovers Freeze is out for revenge against GothCorp CEO Ferris Boyle for presumably killing Freeze's terminally ill wife, Nora. So It's pretty much it, because Batman finds out that there is video footage, and this guy Ferris Boyle is a great guy on TV, but
Yeah, but he's not. Yeah,
but
but it's all about money for him at the end of the day. Yeah, this episode is also why Mr. Freeze is in my top 5 villains ever.
oh,
Is this? He is so incredible, and shout out to the voice acting. Good God. But it's such an incredible. If you just want to point out one episode of a show to say, hey, why animation could be a work of art, this would be it for me. Like I'd say, hey, watch this. This will tell you.
Snowfall in this.
Yeah, it's just so incredible, and the fact that you just feel so awful for Mr. Freeze in this. It's just like, man, I get it, dude. Like, this is just an ultimate example of understanding the reason why a villain's doing something is this right here.
Yeah, because we keep on going back to it, because if you look at every other cartoon that we ever watched, it is good versus evil, but it's more or less Ninja Turtles. Oh, I want to take over. I'm Shredder and Krang. I want to take Transformers. I'm Megatron. I want to take over the world. These are people with like life problems.
Yeah, there's a lot more nuance in these villains for sure. Yeah,
Right.
I mean this episode was so instrumental to Mr. Freeze the character that from this episode on out he becomes, because before this he was very much like a side note villain. He was a almost a joke kind of in a way, but this episode takes him and makes him a major part of that rogues gallery that we all know now. And like this informs his history from here on out. Even in the comics, they take this as an example.
Thank goodness you just reminded me what I wanted to talk to you about after this.
In fact, one of my all-time favorite comic books is a one-shot issue, and it's just a Mr. Freeze story, and it's a Scott Snyder when Scott Snyder was on Batman, my favorite Batman writer, and it's all about, and it takes this premise of Mr. Freeze, and there's a twist, and I don't want to give away because I want people to search this out. It takes this, and in the ending will blow your brain. Like the way he takes this premise and twists it is incredible. Highly recommend people to search that out. It's one of my all-time favorite.
The only odd thing I saw in this is Batman has a back to tank there. Like,
yeah, of course he does. Yeah, he has everything in the vet. But this is an A++ episode. This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
And I love it too. Batman has a cold, and Alfred's like, here, have some chicken and take the chicken noodle soup with you. And that is ultimately what demises Mr. Freeze, because he bashes over his helmet.
Yeah, which Mr. Freeze needs to live. Yeah.
In extreme hot meets extreme cold, it's going to break. But
yeah, what a great episode.
Definitely. I would actually put this is probably the one that I probably would put higher.
Yes. And it's already 4th.
Yeah.
And I would still move it up.
So here we go. We're going into, this is number 3, Two-Face Part 1, Season 1, Episode 17. Mobster Rupert Thorne attempts to prevent Harvey Dent from being a consistent problem against him by finding something that he can use to blackmail him. In the meantime, Dent is facing increased pressure with the re-election campaign and slowly turning to a psychiatrist who is determined that he is developing a split personality. Thorne soon learns of this and attempts to confront him over it, only to create a series of events which will change Dent for the worse. So this is the Two-Face origin, because he uses his own medical records, psychology records, to blackmail him, saying these will get released if you don't do what I say. And it just pisses him off, because his other split personality is Big Harv that he developed from years.
Big Bad Harv, I think it is. Yeah.
From years of bullying.
Yeah, this episode is basically all about mental health. If you think about it, it's ahead of its time for sure. My first note though is, do attorneys show up for police raids? Like there's a police raid, and they're getting shot at. It's a major police raid, and Harvey Dent, who's an attorney, shows up at this.
Well, I could see if you're getting reelected.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
But there's a lot of fantastic foreshadowing in this episode.
I
You
love
can
the lightning.
Yes, the lightning's there's a scene where this is before he's had the disfigurement, and there's a storm outside, and the lightning hits, and in that big flash, you can see that the Two-Face sign, whatever you want to call that, shows up for a split second.
That was
But
awesome.
yeah, that
They
was
also-
incredible.
They also kind of, when they do the reveal of him, because they reveal his face at the end of this episode, is they do that like Ren and Stimpy SpongeBob thing where it's like that still animation to kind of
Yeah.
get more detail than it would be with anything else.
Yeah, some other notes are the way that Thorne's side, whatever you want to call her, like one of his main people, the way that she gets dirt on him is all she had to do was stand outside a door of the
Yeah.
therapist.
Yeah.
Like that therapist needs to do a better job. Maybe get some more, because that's your whole thing is to keep stuff confidential. What people tell you.
I want to soundproof that there.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a little dumb. And also, when the doctor who knows how scarred he is, actually tells Dent there's been some scarring. That's more than just some scarring.
He's like, the plastic surgeon can fix it.
No, they can't.
The only thing that I understand is he did be like, hey, your the other side of your hair just turned white too as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was-
But this is the definitive Two-Face for me.
Mhm.
This is an A
Much-
episode.
Much better than the Tommy Lee Jones one.
Yeah, I love Tommy Lee Jones, but I agree.
This is
Though I will say I will always stand up for Jim Carrey's Riddler.
it was a good Riddler. It
Yeah.
was a decent Riddler there. Number 2, The Trial. This is the only season 2 episode. This was season 2, episode 9. This is just great behind everything. Gotham's new district attorney, Janet Van Dorn, is not a fan of the vigilante Batman, but both end up captured by Batman's greatest enemies after a prison riot in Arkham Asylum. Can we get better stuff going on in Arkham? Because there always seems to
Yes.
be riot.
Yeah.
They are then put on trial by the Joker, who is the judge, Two-Face the prosecutor, which of course, the ventriloquist as the bailiff, and a plainly biased jury of Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, the Mad Hatter, Killer Croc, Scarecrow, and the Riddler. Though clearly a kangaroo trial, Van Dorn is told that if she serves as Batman's defense attorney and proves that Batman is not the cause of these villains' criminal behavior, they will both be set free, but the villains have little intention of following through their deal.
Yeah, because here's the big twist: they find him not guilty.
Yeah, because this is the ultimate.
They all knew that like Batman didn't cause us.
Well, this is always the big question. Is I feel like throughout anything with Batman is, does Batman cause
Right.
super villains
Or do they cause Batman?
Batman? And it's just, I just wrote down the cycle.
Yeah.
It's just constant cycle. But
This is just an awesome episode. Literally, it's his rogues gallery getting the shine here. But
Yeah.
it's just incredible. What fun. This is just such a fun episode.
you did not hear the Scarecrow's voice in this because the voice actor was recuperating from throat surgery. So he had no dialogue. And Van Dorn mentions in this episode that Harley Quinn was once a doctor in Arkham before the Joker corrupted her mind. Backstory, which would be later shown in the new Batman Adventures episode, Mad Love.
Yeah, and side note, I mean, I know most people probably know this, but this series literally created Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's how great it is. When you have to insert somebody because of how great their presence is, like you couldn't be like, they're stupid, I'm gonna write them. This is probably the first thing like Ahsoka Tano, like Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like Ahsoka's there now, because that was the whole reason why I didn't watch what is it? Clone Wars. Because I was like, I'm not dealing with this Ahsoka. But then all of a sudden you grow up, you watch Ahsoka grow up, and you become attached, and you're like, oh, now I like Ahsoka.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I thought this one was great.
This is another A+ episode.
It was just the cycle, who created who.
Yeah.
Why are they the way that they are? Pretty much everything that we talked about is feeling for these and finding out why they do what they do, other than just I take over the world.
Yeah.
Number one is I Almost Got Him. Episode.
I definitely. I mean, I've remembered all these episodes, but this is another standout episode. I remember very much.
Where episode or season 1, episode 35. The Joker.
Here, I can do this. I can do this one easy for you. It's these villains are sitting around a table talking about how they almost got Batman. That's literally the gist of it.
Playing poker. That's the
playing poker, and they're all cheating, by the way, which is great.
And this was inspired by a 4-issue story arc in Batman 1977.
It's brilliant. It's really well done. Killer Croc before that twist, and you think he's Killer Croc. It's fantastic. And
that's the
his story. His story's my favorite story.
I love it because he's just like, I find Batman in a quarry, and then I
like
threw a rock at him, and they're like,
I had Batman in a quarry, dead to rights, and all the villains are looking at him like, well, what did you do? And he goes, I threw a rock at him,
and then they're like, just all blank.
And then he goes, it was a really big rock.
But I love all their stories where they're like, yeah, I had this, I was doing this, I got whether this happened. And then, like Johnny said, the twist at the end, spoiler alert, Killer Croc is not Killer Croc. It's Batman, and everybody else in there are police officers there to arrest these supervillains. But I love it because once again, it shows the more human side that seems like kind of like, I don't know, if a day off from crime or something.
Yeah.
And they're
this
just
sort of seems like this is what they would do, right? Like they're all
Yeah.
like if big villains got together and they all know each other, like this, I feel like this is what they would do. They would talk about how they all like this is Batman kind of connects them in a way. And then they'll be like, oh, how we almost got Batman. It seems like something you tell. It's like
war story stuff.
Yeah, you sitting around telling stories from childhood or from your past. Man, this was another A+ episode. This episode is just incredible.
There's nothing underneath an A. So if you have not gone back to watch this, or watched any of these episodes, go back, watch them.
Yeah.
Maybe just pick out, just say, hey, I want to check out this one. Another one.
I'm pleased to announce this show 100% still holds up.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
I think I mentioned it before. That Baby Doll episode would be one I'd throw out there. There's another one too. It's in the first season. I can't remember the name of it, but it's where this the gist of it is there's just this random guy on the road.
Yeah,
and he's having a bad day.
Joker's favor.
Joker's favor. That's it. Yeah, he's having a bad day, and this car kind of runs him off the road and cuts him off, and he gets mad and goes, I'm not taking it anymore. And he starts yelling at the guy to discover that guy is the Joker. And that just makes his day worse, obviously. And it's just an amazing Joker episode. So I do recommend that one too. Those would be my two off the top of my head that I can think of.
I like one, I believe it's called Underdwellers. It's about this child who is a mute because this guy that like they live in a sewer and they're controlled by this guy that makes them go out and steal things and commit crimes so he can live like this lifestyle, but he pretty much just abuses and neglects these children that live in the sewer with him and just uses them, but tricks them into it, and Batman ultimately defeats him. It's a guy that I don't think's ever been in the comics or anything, but it's still just kind of a great story that always sticked out in my head that Batman is helping this person or helping this little kid and helping all these other kids that have never seen really the light of day, because when they do let them out, I do remember them like rubbing their eyes because they need to adjust. But
yeah,
that is it, Johnny. We are done with Batman here. What do we got?
At some point, I want to do the same thing with the Spider-Man series because I remember really loving it, just to see how it holds up. But yeah, this is an incredible show. Again, if you had great memories of this as a kid, I promise you'll probably even love it even more now as an adult watching it. You have more of an appreciation for it, and there's little stuff you'll pick up that you didn't pick up before as a kid. That's how great this is. You know, Ninja Turtles will always be my first love, and that cartoon I will always love it. But I've gone back and rewatched those, and I love them. They're fun. They're very fun and campy. But this Batman animated series is just on another level.
Yeah. It's just great story writing, great animation, great foreshadowing.
Great voice acting. It's got everything.
Yeah. It's not campy. It's just great. Yeah, just great everything. Just go watch it.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Go watch it. Yeah, I want to do Spider-Man because that was also one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
But if you got any other ideas you want us to go through a top 10 of something and somebody has a list, or because our memories are not that great, so we kind of got to go off of other people's lists.
Yeah. I have a terrible memory. I mean, my buddy here, Frank, will tell you that I don't have a good memory.
Plus, it's Ninja Turtles. If my name was Leonardo, it'd be a different story.
Oh, I'd never forget that.
Or Raph.
Yes. Oh, it's Raph for sure.
I worked with this guy, and he named he's an Italian guy, and he named his kids very Italian things. Like his one son name was Salvatore.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had another kid, and we were like, What are you naming your kid? And he's like, Raphael. And we're all like, You Ninja Turtle fan? And he's like, No, why does everyone keep on saying that? Well,
I would do it for that. That'd be like hell yeah.
so
Or shell yeah.
I'm like, our age says that you're naming them after a Ninja Turtle, not anything else, not the Renaissance guy.
Honestly, if I'd ever had a kid, I would be very tempted. Not even going to front.
Dressed in red constantly.
Oh yeah. It is my favorite color. So
but that is it. So if you got any other episodes or TV series you want us to review, see if we can find a top 10 list, and do those, send them on over. We do have a couple set up for like Halloween, but that's way down the line. But check us out, social media, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. And leave us a review or anything like that. Johnny, you got anything to tell the people other than you are the knight?
I am the knight for sure. Yeah, I just go watch Batman. Good God, this just makes me want to watch. I want to end up watching even more episodes of this because of this
from the beginning.
Yeah.
But with that being said, what may not be nostalgia for you may be nostalgia for some.